Hello. The Divine Code reading for March 2nd, pages 537, 538. We're also going to finish the chapter on 539. It's just a short few lines on that page. Chapter 5, Precepts related to spilling of semen and contraception. Topic number 6. It is permitted for a Jewish man to wear a condom. No, it is permitted for a Gentile man to wear a condom that blocks the flow of semen. And this is not considered spilling seed as long as he is emitting the semen during vaginal or anal intercourse with his wife. Rabbi Zalman Nehemiah Goldberg advises this needs further analysis. The author responds that the later authorities brought in Encyclopedia Talmudica, Volume 11 on spilling seed, and Tizit Eleazar, Volume 9, Chapter 51. Discusses whether a condom is equal to an intra uterine device, IUD, or if a condom is worse since it interposes between the flesh of the husband and the wife, so their act would not be considered actual intercourse. In a situation where this is direly needed, it is permitted since, like an IUD, one does not intend to wastefully emit semen. See responsa of Achazer, Volume 3, Chapter 24, responsa of Marashag, Volume 2, Chapter 243, and responsa of Pri Hasidi, Chapter 3, Volume 53. See Egret Moshe, Ibn Ezer, Volume 1, into Chapter 63, who speaks regarding Jews. It is clear that his words in this matter would be more lenient. It is clear from the words in this manner that the matter would be more lenient for Gentiles, as we find in the Rima, Ibn Ezer, Chapter 25, permits abnormal relations. So there's a question as to whether or not, or what is the situation regarding the use of condoms. And we're finding that there is some allowance in the Jewish community, or not. I'm not sure about the Jewish community, but when the topic is discussed, it's mentioned that it's lenient, or it indicates that it's lenient for Gentiles. And also there's a question of wasting semen, because it doesn't actually go into the woman. And in a normal way, but yet abnormal relations are permitted for Gentiles, and therefore perhaps the use of a condom would be similar to the abnormal relations. In this regard, a condom is equal to an IUD, or abnormal relations, since a man's organ enters the woman in the manner that cohabitation is normally done. But it is just done in such a way that it will not lead to having children. The only forbidden action is full intercourse initially, and then immediate semen outside of the body. Whereas with a condom, the man is ejecting semen within the body of the woman. She therefore receives the full pleasure of the entire process of the cohabitation, and because this purpose is achieved, therefore it is not considered to be emitting the semen wastefully. So for Gentiles, there's two aspects to cohabitation. One aspect is the appropriation, which is not really a commandment for Gentiles. It's important to settle the world. So it's important that society sustains itself through people within society having children. However, it's not necessary for every couple to have children. However, it is necessary for every couple to build a loving relationship, and cohabitation is considered an aspect of building a necessary aspect of building a loving relationship. And therefore, it's important that the relationship have a pleasurable experience. And that, according to this, that can be achieved even with the use of a condom. Therefore, the main purpose of the cohabitation for Gentiles is served even with the use of a condom. It may be added that later Torah authorities, see Odzar Hapaskin, Volume 9, page 17, all agree that one is liable in a court of Torah law for cohabitating with a forbidden partner, even with a condom, for which we see the Torah considers it to be a full cohabitation, and therefore it should be permitted for Gentiles to use a condom in cohabitation with their wives. So, for the purpose of the prohibition with a forbidden partner, it's considered cohabitation. Even the use of if a person uses a condom, it's still considered the act that would be capital sin if it's with a forbidden partner. Therefore, if it's considered the action there, then it would also be considered with a permitted situation to be the action of cohabitation. So if it's in the negative for the forbidden, it would also be in the positive for the permitted. However, use of a condom is only permitted on a temporary basis. So it's not something that should be just a regular thing all the time. But it should not be seen as something that the marriage is always using, within a marriage situation. But it could be used for some of the time, and it's not really clear to what extent. If it's one, if it's always, but they don't commit to always using it, or if there's a certain percentage that would be considered proper, that even though it's permitted, it would be considered preferable not to, and that should be the preference. If there is dire need, see Igrit Moshe Evan Hazer, Volume 2, Chapter 70, who permits a woman to use an IUD as a contraception because of personal needs, even if not for health reasons, since it is necessary to continue the marital relations for the sake of maintaining peace between the couple. The only prohibition that he discusses regarding the condom is for Jews, for whom it is forbidden to have complete separation between the husband's semen and the wife's flesh. For a Gentile, this would be completely permitted, as discussed above in the previous footnote. Nevertheless, it appears that it is more proper for Gentiles to use an IUD or other contraception other than a condom, if possible, if only if the wife cannot or does not wish to, her husband may wear a condom. So it's preferable that there not be, that there be an intermingling of the two people's that's considered more proper. The bodily fluids be intermingled. If they want to use contraception, because there's no requirement to have children for non-Jews. Jews are required to have children. Non-Jews are not required to have children. If there is a desire to use contraception, but the woman does not want to use an IUD because there are risks involved, and she does not want to use the oral, the pill, because there are chemical side effects. So the woman does not wish to use that, then it is permitted for the man to use a condom. If there is dire need, such as if his wife is not well or does not want to conceive because it would endanger her life or damage her health, it is permitted. Otherwise, it is forbidden one to do so exclusively. So, in order to constantly have relations while preventing pregnancy in a manner of mere pleasure and convenience, as is the case of one who constantly has abnormal relations. That'll be discussed in the next topic. The lenience for use of a condom only applies when a man does so with his wife, since he is having normal relations, and this is an act of establishing and maintaining the marital bond. By contrast, one who acts licentiously with a woman outside of marriage, preventing conception using a condom, has transgressed the prohibition against spilling semen. So there is an aspect of the prohibition of spilling semen with the use of a condom, because the semen does not actually go into the woman. If it's for the sake of preserving, maintaining the marriage, the marital bond, then that overrides the prohibition against spilling semen. The marital bond would override. However, if he's with a promiscuous or licentious relationship, then there's no marital bond involved, and then using a condom would not be permitted, because that would be considered spilling semen, and there's no excuse not to. And if he's concerned about diseases and all that, then he probably should not be involved in a licentious relationship. Topic number 7. It is not forbidden for a Gentile to have abnormal, that's anal intercourse, sexual relations. Tractate Sanhedrin 58b. According to the opinion of Rabbah, we do not follow the opinion of Rabbi Kina there, that it is forbidden, since it is not a way of clinging. It does not produce children, therefore it would not be considered clinging. From which it would also be obviously be forbidden to do with another man's wife, or even a single woman. Even if the opinion follows Rabbah, it is still possible that this is only permitted with one's own wife, since it is done in a way of love within marriage. But with other women, it is merely considered emitting semen wastefully, and it is forbidden. So again, it's similar to the condom is similar to anal relations, and it would be considered spilling semen if it's done with outside of the desire to have marital bond. Now, therefore, if it's with anybody, if it's within a licentious relationship, it would not be permitted, because that would be considered spilling semen in vain. Although it is impossible for the wife to conceive in this way, it is not considered to be wasting semen, since he is cohabiting with her. Tosefta Yevamot 34b, Rima Evan Haezer, chapter 25. Still, this is a repugnant act. That's the anal heterosexual relations. Still, this is a repugnant act and is considered an animalistic action, since God created human anatomy different from the animals. The animals whose natural way is that the male cohabits with the female from behind. So animals such as horses and so forth cohabit from behind, and they do not see her face at all. So a man who cohabits from behind, he does not see the face of the woman, They're not facing each other. And it's proper for humans to be facing each other. That's the whole purpose of the cohabitation of building the marital bond, supporting the marital bond, is that they should be looking at each other. They should be facing each other. The general repugnance. This general repugnance applies to abnormal intercourse in any position. However, there is no prohibition that forbids it. So it's not prohibited, but it's not. But on the other hand, it's not proper. It should be manner that's face to face, and the anal cohabitation does not have a face. It would not be face to face. The leniency for abnormal relations only applies if the man does so in a temporary fashion for the purpose of his own pleasure. But if he does so constantly in order to prevent pregnancy, this is forbidden, and he is considered to be intentionally spilling his semen. So if it's done occasionally, would be allowed, but it should not be done on a regular basis, and would be considered spilling his own semen if it was done on a regular basis. See Tosafot, Sanhedrin 58b, and Yavamas 34b. The reason explained there is that and Onan were punished because they specifically intended that Tamar not ever get pregnant. But one who does so occasionally for his own pleasure or by his wife's wishes, and not specifically over the long term for the purpose of preventing pregnancy, does not transgress this prohibition. It is clear from Tosafot, Rid Yavamet 12, that this is how the later Torah authorities Miro Mai Sadi on Tractate Sanhedrin there, Sanhedrin 58b, responsa of Mayeshiv Devar, Volume 1, Chapter 88, Achiezer, Volume 3, Chapter 24, Igrit Moshe Even Ezer, Volume 1, Chapter 63, Part 3, explain this Tosafot. So again, if it's done on a temporary, occasional basis, that would be permitted, but not on a regular basis. And the action is considered improper even on an occasional basis, but it's not prohibited. Thank you.